Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. A mother of Japanese origin hugs her children during forced removal to internment centers in the United States. The 1942 image reflects restrictive policies imposed on thousands of Japanese American families who were taken from their homes and communities after the country entered the World War. An aerial view of Tokyo reveals widespread damage from air raids in 1945. Large sections of the Japanese capital were reduced to ruins in the final stage of the Second World War. The image documents the deep impact on the city's urban fabric. United States Navy sailors push Huey helicopters off the deck of an aircraft carrier in 1975. The drastic move was meant to clear space for aircraft landing with civilians and service members during the final evacuation from Vietnam. The colorized scene conveys the urgency of the conflict's closing days. A large Vietnamese family tries to escape the period's instability towards Saigon on June 8, 1972. Packed onto a single motorcycle, adults and children carry a few belongings during the Vietnam crisis. The image shows the pressure on civilians and the difficult journey amid uncertainty. Accompanied by his aides, Martin Luther King Jr. watches the street from the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis on April 3, 1968. The image captures the civil rights leader just 24 hours before the dramatic attack that would silence his voice in that very place. Dancer Ronnie Bell holds a protest sign outside a theater in the 1970s. The demonstration challenged shows with bolder content that affected job opportunities for nighttime entertainment performers. The image illustrates business and cultural tensions in the urban scene of that era. Malcolm X looks out over the neighborhood through his apartment window in 1964 while keeping a defensive tool to protect his family. The image captures the tension the civil rights leader faced after breaking with the Nation of Islam, symbolizing a time of constant watchfulness and personal pressure. A resistance fighter positions a Stinger weapon system against Soviet aircraft in Nangarhar province in 1988. Providing these resources through the United States shifted the course of resistance in Afghanistan, forcing major tactical changes in Soviet air operations across the mountainous region. A young girl watches a military patrol with curiosity during the Bogside unrest in Northern Ireland in 1969. The contrast between childhood innocence and the tension on the streets of Derry symbolizes the start of the civil turmoil known as the Troubles, which shaped the region's history. General Dwight Eisenhower gives final orders to American airborne troops in England before the Normandy landings on June 6, 1944. The soldiers appear with camouflaged faces, ready for the operation. The meeting became one of the most symbolic moments in the lead-up to D-Day. German children stack bundles of worthless banknotes in November 1923 at the height of hyperinflation in the Weimar Republic. The currency had fallen so far that one United States dollar equaled trillions of marks. The image illustrates a severe economic crisis that wiped out buying power and personal savings. Race officials try to stop runner Catherine Switzer from finishing the Boston Marathon on April 19, 1967. She was the first woman to officially enter with a bib number, challenging the era's gender rules. The moment became a major milestone for equality in women's sports worldwide. A long line of customers forms outside a butcher shop in North Cheam on April 17, 1942. The shop advertises horse meat for human consumption as an option during Second World War rationing. The scene illustrates the food hardships faced in England. Soviet and American airmen pose beside payloads carrying messages meant for opposing forces at an airbase in Russia on June 2, 1944. In the background, damaged buildings and haze on the horizon show the war's destruction. Cooperation between the powers was a decisive factor in the final stretch of the war. The Capitol Rotunda in Washington holds a silent crowd paying final respects to the 35th American president. John Kennedy's funeral, held on November 24, 1963, moved the nation into deep mourning and became one of the most watched events in world television history. Two Danish police officers pose with their uniforms and gear on a Copenhagen street in May 1945. The image marks the period of national liberation at the end of the Second World War. National flags in the background and armbands signal restored sovereignty and renewed order. A French woman has her head shaved by civilians as retaliation for collaborating with German troops shortly after the Second World War ended. This public humiliation was common during France's liberation period. The image exposes social tension and the street-level judgment of the post-conflict moment. Neil Armstrong's family watches from a boat as the Saturn V rocket launches toward the moon in 1969. The image captures intense personal anticipation amid the technological leap of the Apollo 11 mission. The journey's success would reshape the history of human exploration. A black police officer protects a member of a radical group during a tense situation with protesters in Austin, Texas, in 1983. The image captures the irony of a law officer safeguarding someone whose beliefs deny his own humanity, reflecting democratic complexities. Stacks of boxes in an Indiana warehouse signal a decisive moment for global public health in April 1955. The urgent shipment contained doses of the polio vaccine developed to curb an epidemic that left thousands of children paralyzed and demanded massive logistics. A busy Hong Kong street in the 1950s displays traditional signs amid everyday marketplace trade. Heavy foot traffic and goods set out in the open reveal the lively daily life of the British colony at the time. The urban layout blended housing and services. Patients diagnosed with polio and arthritis rest in beds set out on the terrace of an American hospital in the early 20th century. Sunlight and fresh air exposure was a common part of treatment at the time, aimed at recovery in an era before vaccines were developed. During the presidential campaign in Texas in 1960, Lyndon Baines Johnson shouts for pilots to shut down an airplane's engines. The forceful gesture was meant to secure the quiet needed for John Fitzgerald Kennedy to speak to voters, highlighting the dynamics of their political alliance. A worker at the De Beers diamond mine undergoes an X-ray exam at the end of his shift in Kimberley, South Africa, in October 1954. The strict procedure was used to prevent smuggling of precious stones. The practice shows corporate control over local labor. Singer Johnny Cash greets an attendee during his historic performance at a Folsom facility in 1968. During the show, he included a song written by Glenn Shirley. The event became a landmark in popular culture, linking country music to a defining chapter of American life. Financier Albert Lowenstein boards his private aircraft on July 4, 1928, shortly before he mysteriously disappeared over the English Channel. The event involving the man, then considered the third richest in the world, sparked countless theories and debates in aviation. A steam and hydraulic forging press rated at about 16,534 short tons operates in the Friedrich Krupp AG workshops in Essen in the 1920s. The sheer scale of German industrial machinery reflects the technical strength of heavy engineering between the wars, cementing the Ruhr Valley as a vital production center for the European economy. During winter vacation in 1937, the Italian head of government appears in a leisure moment on a sled in the snow. The recreation helped humanize the authorities' public image, emphasizing physical vigor and a connection to mountain region traditions. Astronaut Edwin Buzz Aldrin climbs down the lunar module ladder to become the second man to walk on the moon in 1969. The historic image was taken by Neil Armstrong as they explored the surface. The technological feat marked the high point of the space race between the superpowers. A loyal bull terrier named Willie lies beside George Patton's belongings shortly after the general's death on December 21, 1945, in Germany. Shipping crates display the rank and name of the officer who led troops in the Mediterranean and Europe during the world conflict. Crowds fill New York streets on August 12, 1969, for a parade honoring the Apollo 11 astronauts. The event celebrated the crew's safe return after a required quarantine period. Confetti thrown from buildings created an unforgettable festive atmosphere in the city. Star Frank Sinatra is seen serving a drink at his private bar at his Palm Springs home in 1965. The place was known for hosting famous guests at lavish parties. The decor reflects the era's modern sophistication, with mirrors and crystal details tied to the height of pop culture. The development of the electronic numerical integrator and computer at the University of Pennsylvania marked the beginning of the modern digital computing era. Formally presented on February 15, 1946, the system filled entire rooms with panels packed with cables and vacuum tubes, run by pioneering women programmers who calculated trajectories. The World Trade Center Twin Towers show their core structures during construction in New York in 1972. The innovative design used a steel core for support, transforming the city skyline. Civil engineering reached new heights in that decade. The imposing concrete walls of the Panama Canal locks appear completed in 1922. The massive engineering project created a vital link between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, transforming global shipping routes. The image highlights the scale of the work that changed world trade. The huge metal framework of a Zeppelin airship is assembled inside a massive hangar around 1935. The image details the complexity of German aviation engineering before the Second World War. Many workers on scaffolding finished the airship's skeleton, a symbol of transport technology of the era. A workshop in Paris buzzes with workers assembling a colossal copper structure. In 1884, Frederick Auguste Bartholdi's project took its final shape in France before being taken apart and shipped as a gift to the United States to celebrate the independence centennial. Brothers Orville and Wilbur Wright are shown sitting side by side during the only flight they made together on May 25, 1910. Their decision not to fly in the same aircraft was tied to a promise to their father to avoid losing both in an accident. The image marks a rare moment of closeness in aviation history. Billboards light up Tokyo streets in 1977 to promote the release of Star Wars. The science fiction film's cultural impact hit the Japanese market hard, covering buildings with vivid art. The worldwide box office phenomenon reshaped movie marketing in Asia. Actor Kenny Baker takes a lunch break inside the R2-D2 droid costume while filming Star Wars in Tunisia in 1976. The production faced extreme desert conditions to create the saga's visual world. The image reveals the practical behind-the-scenes work of filmmaking. Steven Spielberg shares a relaxed moment with actor Harrison Ford and screenwriter Melissa Matheson on the set of the film E.T. in 1983. The image captures creative teamwork among major names in American cinema during the making of one of the world's most enduring science fiction classics. During the filming of the epic production El Cid in the 1960s, actors Charlton Heston and Sophia Loren share a relaxed, behind-the-scenes moment. The black and white image captures the grand look of Hollywood epic filmmaking, bringing together two major icons of the Golden Age on a monumental set. Actress Audrey Hepburn appears focused as she reviews a script at United Nations radio studios around 1953. The program was recorded to benefit the United Nations Children's Fund. The image captures the early steps of the humanitarian commitment that would define her later public life. The couple John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Jacqueline Bouvier celebrate their wedding on September 12, 1953, in Newport. The outdoor reception drew hundreds of guests and marked the union of two influential figures in the American elite. The event is remembered as a prelude to the glamour later associated with the Camelot era. Princess Elizabeth appears at 16 years old greeting military officers in 1942. The black and white image captures the future queen carrying out official duties during the Second World War. The scene shows the British royal family's role in supporting troop morale and the United Kingdom war effort. Senator Jack Kennedy and his fiancée Jackie pose for a photograph at home in 1953. The image captures the couple before they rose to national political prominence in the following decade. It reflects the private side of one of the most influential families in the United States. Legendary boxer Muhammad Ali enjoys a boat ride on the Nile River during his landmark visit to Egypt in 1964. Wearing local clothing, he sought to reconnect with his roots and strengthen ties with the Islamic world, reinforcing his image as a global figure of cultural resistance. The astonished expression of young Harold Whittles marks the shift from total silence to discovering the world of sound. The 1974 photograph captures his immediate reaction to a hearing aid working, allowing the child to experience new sensory input in a completely new way. Science fiction writer Hugo Gernsback is shown using the isolator in 1925, a strange helmet designed to block outside distractions. The invention included its own oxygen supply to keep the user fully focused. The device reflects unusual attempts to optimize work. A worker poses beside a huge stack of 62,500 punch cards in 1966. All that paper represented only 5 megabytes of data and took about 4 days to process. The image highlights the technical limits and physical labor of early computing. The communication satellite called Apple, the first of its kind in India, is carried on an ox cart on June 19, 1981. Using the traditional vehicle was a technical choice to avoid magnetic interference with sensitive equipment. The contrast marks the start of India's space journey with creativity. An innovative built-in dishwasher is presented as the future of home life in the 1950s. The round-shaped appliance simplified routine in modern post-war kitchens. The bold design reflects the era's tech optimism aimed at transforming the traditional American home. Beauty specialist Max Factor uses a beauty caliper to measure a client's facial features with millimeter-level precision in 1932. The complex metal device was used to spot perceived flaws and guide makeup application. The method shows the pursuit of visual perfection in the golden age of film. Flight attendants of Pacific Southwest Airlines modeled their bright uniforms in the United States in the 1970s. The pink and orange design reflected the airline's modern, relaxed style. The aviation industry aimed to attract passengers through strong visual identity. Students walk through sunny hallways at a high school in Los Angeles in 1962. The image captures the era's teen fashion and behavior at a campus located in the Valley area. Open-air architecture encouraged social interaction between classes. The construction site atop Corcovado shows the complex scaffolding needed to raise Brazil's landmark monument. Assembly of the reinforced concrete and soapstone statue began in 1922 and was completed on October 12, 1931, through a joint effort by Brazilian engineers and French artists. A skater in a red outfit stands out among suit-wearing pedestrians on a midtown Manhattan sidewalk in 1979. The visual contrast reflects cultural diversity and changing styles in late 1970s New York. The street scene captures the freedom and energy of daily life in the city. Famous Lombard Street in San Francisco shows its winding path lined with colorful flowers in 1975. Cars of the era travel through 8 tight turns designed to reduce the hill's natural grade. This piece of urban engineering turned the street into a major local landmark. Winston Churchill visits the White House in January 1942 wearing his special outfit known as a siren suit. The British Prime Minister crossed the Atlantic to coordinate military strategy with allies after the attack on Pearl Harbor. The practical clothing suited a demanding schedule. A billboard in Arizona in the 1950s advertises pool homes at prices aimed at a rising middle class. The Maryvale sign highlights the dream of home ownership during a time of rapid suburban growth in the United States. Real estate marketing emphasized leisure and family comfort. A young woman is seen pumping gas into her own car at a service station in Los Angeles in the early 1950s. The black and white image captures post-war California everyday style, highlighting car design and the gas pumps of the time. The scene illustrates America's growing car culture. A 1950s child seat design favored visibility and entertainment over modern vehicle safety standards. With metal hooks attached to the seat back, the accessory let a baby watch the road and even pretend to drive with a small steering wheel. Several cats crowd around a kebab seller on an Istanbul street in 1952. The vendor works at his mobile cart while the animals patiently wait for scraps among the cobblestones. The everyday scene shows the city's long-standing affection for cats. People enjoy themselves at a party in South Carolina in 1956. The setting shows signs for classic snacks and a lit jukebox in the background. Shot in Kodachrome, the image highlights the lively culture of celebrations in small communities across the southern United States in that decade. Several Italian boys smile as they carry long wooden poles with pasta hanging to dry outdoors in 1929. This traditional method of making pasta was common in many parts of Italy before mass industrial production. The scene captures the spirit of the country's handmade cooking traditions. Novelist Leo Tolstoy shares a playful moment with his grandchildren at the Yasnaya Poliana estate in the fall of 1909. The scene captures the Russian author in his final years, after he had turned away from traditional fiction in pursuit of a life focused on simplicity and moral values. And a family from Italy waits for paperwork processing at the New York Reception Center during the peak of European migration. The image, taken on May 12, 1905 at Ellis Island, shows luggage carried on the head, symbolizing the search for new opportunities on American soil. A studio portrait shows a quiet farewell between a soldier and his mother before departure for the European front. In 1917, thousands of young Americans were mobilized for the world conflict, leaving behind family bonds marked by uncertainty and civic duty. Workers gather in a cobblestone yard in Norway to unload the country's first shipment of bananas in 1905. The black and white image captures tropical fruit arriving at the harbor in large baskets. The event marked the start of importing exotic foods into the Scandinavian market. A master chimney sweep poses beside his young assistant on the streets of London in 1877. The trade was essential in the Victorian era to prevent fires and keep homes heated. Their tools and worn clothing show the harsh working conditions of the time. A steam locomotive runs along elevated tracks above the busy streets of the Bowery neighborhood in Manhattan around 1895. The elevated transit system was a crucial solution for New York City's growth, allowing fast travel amid crowds of pedestrians and horse-drawn carriages. Trinity Episcopal Church stands in the foreground in Washington around 1863, while the Capitol building remains unfinished in the background. The image captures the American Capitol during the turbulent Civil War years, showing an urban landscape still under national development. Emperor Wilhelm II is captured in an informal moment in 1913, shortly before the start of the First World War. Wearing an ornate military uniform and the iconic Pickelhaube helmet, the German ruler embodies Europe's imperial era. The colorized image highlights the pomp and strictness of the old Prussian aristocracy. A medieval home in Hamburg witnessed 4 centuries of urban change before its final removal. Originally built in 1504, the timber-framed structure was the oldest domestic example in the German city until it was demolished in 1910, making way for new port modernization projects. A solemn crowd gathers in Prague to say goodbye to Tomáš Masaryk in September 1937. The funeral of the founder and first president of Czechoslovakia took place amid rising political tension in Central Europe. The event symbolized the end of a democratic era before drastic changes hit the country. Searchlights sweep the skies over Red Square in Moscow on May 9, 1945, to celebrate the end of the Second World War in Europe. Fireworks over the silhouettes of the Kremlin and St. Basil's Cathedral marked the Soviet victory in the conflict. Euphoria filled the Russian capital that night. Marshal Josip Broz Tito watches his troops enter Belgrade in 1945, marking the liberation of Yugoslavia. The military parade through the capital symbolizes victory by local forces and the end of foreign occupation. His leadership strengthened his political influence across the Balkans. Shipyard workers in Glasgow walked to their lunch break around 1944. In the background, the towering frame of a ship under construction shows Scotland's industrial effort during the Second World War. The image captures working life in one of the United Kingdom's major shipbuilding centers. Apostolic Nuncio Cesare Orsenigo is received by German officials in Berlin on May 1, 1936. Diplomacy between the Vatican and the local government sought to maintain complex talks during the 1930s. The formal meeting reflects the protocols demanded by foreign policy at the time. Women take part in a cooking class at the German government bride school on the island of Schwanenwerder in Berlin in 1938. The institution aimed to train young German women in household tasks and family care, shaping the social expectations of the period. Inside an arts academy in Tokyo, young geisha apprentices practice balance and strength exercises in 1951. The demanding training focuses on posture and flexibility needed for traditional dances, keeping Japan's centuries-old traditions alive. Model and actress Irish McCalla poses for renowned artist Alberto Vargas around 1950. At about 5 feet 10 inches tall, she became a cultural icon by playing the character Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. The image captures the collaboration of 2 standout figures in American pinup aesthetics. Two women smile as they walk along a beach carrying surfboards around 1960. The black and white photo captures the rise of surfing and the coastal lifestyle that shaped youth culture in that decade. The scene reflects growing social and cultural freedom of the era. Shelves packed with cans and neatly stacked boxes fill a large American grocery store in the 1920s. Bright lighting highlights product abundance in an era marked by rising mass consumption. The store reflects retail modernization before the Great Depression. A brick storefront in New York displays bold, quirky ads in 1946. A large Fat Men's Shop sign promotes basic clothing and pajamas in all sizes on 3rd Avenue. The street scene shows the practical look of post-war American retail. Mary Ann McLeod, mother of the future businessman and politician Donald Trump, is photographed at 18 years old in 1930. The young Scottish woman from a modest background was leaving her homeland for the United States in search of new opportunities, joining the large wave of immigrants who shaped American society. The family portrait taken in 1904 shows the rise of the black middle class in the United States in the early 20th century. Formal clothing and detailed wallpaper point to a home marked by dignity and social stability, in sharp contrast with segregation under the Jim Crow era. A Kodachrome photograph from the 1950s shows the dynamics of segregated domestic work in the United States. While the white family gathers in the kitchen, the black worker performs her duties in uniform, revealing the social and racial hierarchies that shaped daily American life at the time. The Cuban leader pays a solemn tribute before the statue of Abraham Lincoln in Washington during his official visit to the United States. The gesture took place on April 20, 1959, shortly after the Revolution's victory, symbolizing a brief period of diplomatic dialogue before ideological tensions hardened. King Saud bin Abdulaziz carries out a training demonstration in Saudi Arabia in 1956. The monarch was the country's second ruler and reigned during a period of major modernization in military structures. Strategic cooperation with foreign nations shaped the strengthening of the region's armed forces. Busy Saigon streets form the backdrop for a member of the United States Air Force and a local companion in 1971. Urban life in South Vietnam shows a mix of military and civilian vehicles amid a conflict that shaped the region's geopolitics in the second half of the 20th century. Playgrounds in the 1970s featured equipment with striking heights and simple metal structures. Very tall slides were common, reflecting safety standards far different from today's. Children's recreation emphasized physical adventure. Loggers in California cut giant sequoias during the peak of the timber industry in the late 19th century. The massive trunks show the scale of forest exploitation in places like Humboldt County, where the economy depended on harvesting wood for city building. A woman uses a vending machine to pour a cup of soda in 1962. The technology reflects the spread of automation in city life, offering quick access to everyday drinks in public places and blending modern convenience with social leisure. A farmer uses headphones to listen to the radio while milking his cow in a barn in the 1920s. In the early days of broadcasting, headphones were required to pick up the signal. The image shows how new technology entered everyday rural life. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.